All right. Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Welcome, Aries, to your monthly reading. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. Apollo is sleeping in the background, so I'm going to leave him alone right now. I just wanted to welcome everybody to this new month ahead. I felt a lot of energetic shifts coming through, largely sort of aquatic energy coming through when I was tuning in this morning in dreams, like the beach, the surf, also sort of like looking at the depths of the water. So to me, this is signifying some emotional things that need to be dealt with, but then rapid movement, because water is something that can really move you forward. So I'm excited to see what the cards show. We always begin with basically totems first. So for me, that's how I connect to source, and that's what we're going to share first and foremost. All right, so how's everybody doing today? Hopefully you're doing well. And thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule to take a look at the next 6 to 8 weeks, which is what this forecast will cover. Again, it's for Aries, Sun, Rising, and Moon. You can also watch for any aspect of your chart that you happen to know, but we do actually break down the Sun, Rising, and Moon messages a little bit later. So as I said, I like to begin here with the channel messages. This came today primarily through dreams, almost exclusively through dreams. And basically when I wake up, I piece it all together. So a little bit of research and a little bit of work before I get started. As I said, largely based on water sort of elements. So emotions and movement. I saw surfing. I saw basically what looked like the Fool's Cliff in that illustration. I looked at the depth of the water, and then I saw that there was a path to higher ground, all of which portends good things to me. If you've watched my channel for the last 8.5 years or so, you know I like to look at the tower as something that you can embrace. You don't have to be beholden to the energy of the tower. It can be something that you're basically, deciding, hey, I'm here for the ride. When you decide to do that, when you actually start to really kind of like surf with that energetic change, it empowers you. It allows you to be an active co-creator, not just a participant, but a co-creator in the changes that want to come through. So that's what I was primarily picking up on when I looked at the energy of the tower, in this case, the surf. So I saw a bunch of people out in the middle of the water swimming out to meet the wave. So to me, that's meeting change. And I didn't see anybody wiping out. So to me, that means that if you do the work, if you meet change halfway, you have a good chance to make a really positive impact. You're going to feel like things are happening for you and with your energy, not to you. Okay, next piece. So I was also told by my guides, don't look down. And of course, like a kid, I looked down because I wanted to see what they didn't want me to see. It was just basically how deep the water was. And this reminded me when I woke up, I'm like, oh, I was standing at the Fool's Cliff. You never know what's beneath the Fool. You look there and it could be waves, it could be ground, it could be nothing. But the Fool is willing to take a leap of faith. I was actually heartened by the fact that I saw water, because that's a nice landing and it wasn't that far of a distance. But the thing that caught me was I got a little dizzy when I saw how deep the water was. So some of you may have been pushing some emotions beneath the surface. This could have been because of a loss in your life, a disappointment, something that you've been trying to deal with. In these cases, you definitely want to work with someone that can help you out, whether it's a friend, a therapist, or someone else, some sort of an advisor. But generally speaking, this can also just show that there's a lot of emotional inspiration. Like this could be almost like your palette that you could paint from, and it goes pretty deep. So I like it when I see someone with emotional depth. Don't be afraid to tap into your depth. Don't be afraid to explore it. Definitely don't take it for granted or ignore it. That was the main takeaway here. The one thing that the Fool is able to do is to leap forward and not be afraid. And fear is something that we don't want to kind of like hold us back or anchor us down. It can inform us. And like I said, contingency plans, a plan B, making sure that you've created a safety net. All of those things are good, but never avoid doing something just because of fear. Always lean into educating yourself, talking to someone, and really figuring out why the fear is there. Speaking of the deep emotions, I think one thing that could be really effective is meditating on the King of Cups. He is in control of his emotions. He's not beholden to him. He is open-hearted. He's not afraid to feel things or see things. Even if he's been hurt before, he's learned from that. and basically now feels like, I've got this, I'm okay. Older, wiser, more controlled energy with the King of Cups. So if you need to, again, I'll keep saying this, if you need to deal with something, now is the time to address it, because passion, creativity, and possibly love, folks, you always ask me, why don't you focus on love? If it comes through, I focus on it. So there could be love waiting for you, but let's let this be a partner that is elevated. And to get an elevated partner, you have to sort of do any of the necessary work to make sure that you can meet them on the level. Okay? The goal here is allowing emotions to flow, not being beholden to them, keeping an open heart, but using your head too. King of Cups is one of my favorite court cards because when you look at partners and leaders, they're really fun to be around. They're creative, they're kind, and they're also strong. So it's like the best of all worlds. At the end of all of this, I was shown a path on the beach. So I started to kind of veer towards the deep end. I was still on the ocean, but I saw, oh, this is a little dangerous. And then my guides pointed out to another path. So for some of you, you are just exploring a little bit and finding the best path. Some of you might be realizing, okay, I need to get back to what I originally set out to do. You might have gotten distracted by something. So Eight of Cups can be returning to what it is that you've been kind of like putting on the shelf for later. And for many of you, it's just about deciding, I'm going to move to higher ground. There's a better way to do this. There's another way to do this. There's more than one way to get to the finish line. Okay? So no puns intended. This is kind of deep energetically for you. There's a lot of water energy coming through. Some of you might have water placements in your chart, but I see the potential for healing. I see the potential for change. And I also see movement. And all of these things, to me, are good things. So let's, without any further delay, take a look at the cards and see how the channeled messages apply to the month ahead. So let me go ahead and turn the camera down. And we're going to use a Celtic deck. You can go to my website if you want to find out more about any of my decks. I think this is maybe the first or second one that's featured. All right, let's focus, everybody. Good to see you. How are you doing? Hopefully your month has gotten off to a good start. Really happy that you guys joined me today. Lots of reversals despite shuffling. So I'm going to read most of them. Yeah, we got a couple uprights. I'm going to read most of them as potential upright cards and just sort of like tell you how to flip the energy, because it feels like many of you are on the precipice of change, but could be a little bit afraid of what might be coming through. So we won't focus too much on the reversal energy when we get this many. I'm also reading this on the heels of a retrograde. So some of my readings this month will have reverse cards because we're just being asked to look at things from different perspectives. Yep, there's your tower. And it came through in the wealth area of the expanded forecast. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. Okay, and the moon that's coming through this month may affect some of you as well. Okay, let me just get everything laid out here and we'll begin. All right, I always like to start off with the Catalyst card. The Catalyst card is what creates action. It's what can help inform the best decisions, keeps you on track. So let's see what your message is here. We have inspiration coming through, and it's really reminding you that you're the source of that. A lot of times we'll see in a couple of my Celtic decks, the green man or green woman, or even temperance cards, a lot of times they have this sort of cauldron in front of them. And it's basically kind of like an elevated magician. It's saying, what are you doing to create, to modify, it's kind of like cooking, right? What are you doing to change up the mix a little bit this month? Because suffice it to say, the same old may not, the status quo may not be enough. So for those of you that are chefs or cooks out there, or even for those of you that just like to try new things, you realize it's important to sort of like take some calculated risks. So the Fool energy is also a part of this. It's also saying what lights your fire, what inspires you. With the card reversed initially, some of you may be trying to seek inspiration from others, might be looking at like, just substitutes for that. And it's saying, no, go back to the core, go back to what it is that's always been exciting, insightful, kind of like creating curiosity within your life. So this month especially, it's important to rekindle the flame, and especially if that means, changing things up, that's okay. Let's take a quick scan of the cards again. Now we're taking a look at the Celtic Cross, and the Celtic Cross is going to help us basically see what's coming through here in this period of time. As we look at I'm just going to kind of scan all of them. This isn't part of the Celtic, but what I see here is change in work. And if I look at your sort of money cards this month, it does look like it's one of the single upright cards that came through despite me shuffling multiple times during the spread. Ace of Pentacles. So some of you might be deciding to shift your focus in work, money, or energy into something new. So we see that as a promise on the horizon. We see some choices here that you have to make with the Six of Pentacles. You can't be everything to everybody. I see success as well. It's actually pretty good. Yes, we have reversals, but sometimes change is hard. So let's just take it one step at a time. You really don't have any problematic cards, just resistance to change. Okay, so let's start with your centermost card, the Seven of Wands. At the center here, we have basically the need to work smarter. So this card came through reversed. A lot of times with the Seven of Wands, this is a good illustration because we try to, it's like hoarding everything. I'm the only one that can do this, sometimes is what you're thinking. There's even a phrase, if you have to do something right, do it yourself. Sometimes. If you try to do everything yourself, you're actually not allowing other people to grow. You are setting yourself up for exhaustion. It's not necessarily a sustainable thing. And when you think of a corporation, you're not empowering people around you to grow, and you're not allowing yourself to reach that higher ground. So we see dragons, which invariably kind of have a greedy or hoarding energy. And it's basically saying, let some of that go. You don't have to hold on to everything, because when you release it, it's actually kind of interesting here that better things can come through. So this is Seven of Cups, which is interesting. I thought it was Seven of Wands initially. Seven of Cups is also about distraction. So it could be about distracting yourself by thinking that, you have to, again, do all of these things. Specificity and landing on one thing is going to be key. So, not Seven of Wands, Seven of Cups here. Making a decision and letting go. It's still a control card. It's still saying, I have to do all of this. You don't. Let it go. So, when the card is reversed, it's saying decision time is at hand. And just like whether it's Seven of Cups or Seven of Wands, you have to delegate a little bit, let go, and focus on where you have the biggest impact or the biggest ability to really make a splash. Crossing the Seven of Cups at the center, we have the Five of Cups. So lots of water, which is what I was picking up on. The Five of Cups is a perspective shift. Are we going to look at what was or what could be? The answer, of course, is on what could be. In the traditional Five of Cups, there's also this hidden blessing, which is that someone has your back. So sometimes we have to go through disappointment or unrest or some sort of distraction in order to find out who our true allies are, who really understands us. And if we're willing and ready to see that, then we actually see, oh, wow, it was all for a purpose. I'm not lost. I found a new direction. I found a new friend. So in this moment, I would encourage you to look around because especially if you're looking for love right now, there could be an opportunity knocking on the door. If you look at this Five of Cups right behind him, two big old cups in the upright position. So upright cups, and these are the opportunities or the disappointments that didn't go the way he thought, but he's got to look around. And if we look at this card, when he's looking around, he actually sees a portal. So the portal of opportunity is more promising than the disappointments or the missteps. The older that I get, I really don't believe that there are mistakes. I feel like we call in opportunities. Some of them are tougher than others, but if we learn from them, it's not a mistake, it's context, it's growth, and it's part of life, right? you have to learn how to crawl before you can walk. And usually you don't walk immediately, you're going to stumble a little bit. So just like a kid that's learning to walk, the first steps are always a little bit tenuous. So don't give yourself too much grief over making any missteps. Just keep walking, keep trying. Riding a bike, all the same sort of metaphors. You have to, practice makes perfect. And what I love about this is how beautiful that portal looks on the horizon. It looks inviting, it's unknown, but there's something calling to him. He just has to be willing to try something different, okay? So both deciding what you want and also delegating and letting go a little bit, all of those things are key. That's going to give you more mental real estate to see the opportunity. And we do have the Seven of Wands in the deep past. So you got both. I was reading it at the center. I'm like, it feels like it. Do less, but do it better is the message of the Seven of Wands. And also remember that when you let go of something, in the opportunity space, we have the Six of Wands. It's reversed, but it's still there. So success sometimes comes through saying no, through picking what you want to do and doing that, through telling people that this is what you're interested in. It's being clear, decisive, and having boundaries, not by trying to do it all. So we see someone here who's probably got their energy and their mind channeled, focused, or weighed in energies that they don't need to be. So again, people pleasing, trying to do it all, not the sort of best outlet this month. The other thing with this card is don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. We can clearly see that this isn't what should be happening here in the Seven of Wands. So if people are getting under your skin or kind of like on your last nerve, one of the things here also to do is simply to speak up for yourself and say, you know, this doesn't work for me, or this is unacceptable. So absolutely, the Seven of Wands is a good card for defense and a good card for sort of putting down some limits. So don't be afraid to do that. Now let's take a look at what all of this is leading up to. Right now, since you guys are watching me a little bit in advance of the month ahead, you're in the energy of the Magician. So when you learn to kind of say, this is what I want, when you focus on the opportunity that's knocking, when you stand up for yourself and also just work smarter, then the Magician comes through. The Magician's reversed, but let's look at him upright. Basically, he has one of every tool in front of him, but he doesn't have to use all of them. So discernment, and again, less is more, finding that balance, all of that is key here this month. The other thing that I would say with this is don't second guess your ability to basically to make something happen. Because when we second guess our what we're receiving from source, we're basically saying, I don't trust myself, I don't trust source, I'm not sure I can do this. This morning, there was another seven card that came through, the Seven of Swords reversed. And I mentioned the inner saboteur being a part of this, and which sometimes says, that wasn't even a part of the reading. What I was saying was sometimes there's imposter syndrome, which is like, I'm not good enough. Then the inner saboteur will come out and say, I'm just going to mess this up and before I have to sort of like put myself out there. Let's not let any of those things get in the way. You've got a lot of power, a lot of opportunity. And I think if you just give yourself a shot this month, the sky's the limit. And that's really what the Magician is saying. Let's step away from all the fears and uncertainties and just give it a go. Okay? As we look at your crowning card here, we have King of Swords. This is about speaking your mind, taking some action. And for many of you, your communication skills are off the charts this month, which is exciting. So people are more interested in what you have to say and do than they normally would be. So it's not a time to be shy. What is it that you stand for? This is what could happen. Someone could be putting you on the spot and saying, we need a decision. Are you ready? What do you think? Do you want to sign on the dotted line? Because this can also be a legal document. And I would encourage you as you get closer to the middle of the month to just start to think to yourself, what do I want to do? Am I ready to go for this? And don't hold back. If an opportunity meets you, here's the sort of difference between people that are successful or have a little bit of challenge there. Success is basically a synchronicity that you meet and you're prepared and you embrace it. So this Five of Cups, which was on top of the Seven of Cups, is about being ready. He sees it. Is he going to do something about it? Or is he just going to keep looking and waiting for it to come to him? So This is a very active and very to the point sort of energy in the King of Swords. So go for it. Raise your hand and say, hey, yeah, I'm interested. Let's do this. Or I'd love to talk about this. Do you have time today? Don't say we need to talk. Just say, I have some really exciting things that I want to discuss. When can I get on your calendar? Be bold, be secure, be direct. And I think that's going to set you apart from other people. If you're at a meeting or if you're in a group of friends, don't kind of like be the wallflower this month, because people can and will see your potential if you're willing to sort of step up, okay? We have Six of Pentacles here. This is your big opportunity this month. Even though Six of Wands is hopes, fears, and opportunities, this is what stands between the past and the future. It's basically understanding what it is that you want and how you're going to go after it. Six of Pentacles, also reversed, but it's basically saying, I'm willing and ready to go for this, but I understand that I need to say no to some people. And I need to pull back a little bit. It's measuring and preparing for the future. Sometimes, there's a tendency to just go for broke, go for the gusto. This isn't the month to do that. This is a month where you want to basically look at it as if it were a relay race or a long distance run, and you need to save a little bit of energy to make sure that you can get your part done. Here's your traditional Six of Pentacles. Not everybody can get everything, because you also need to hold a little for yourself. So it's like, I'll invest in this activity. I'll spend a little time with this person. I'm going to put a little bit of TLC here so that I can keep doing this, so that I can keep creating resources and keep sharing the love. So it's give and take, and you need to see a return on the investment. And one of the key things with the Six of Pentacles, just like the Seven of Wands, is saying no or pushing back. It's okay, and it's something that we have a hard time doing. Reclaiming your balance. I felt a little dizzy when I looked off the cliff. Really making sure that your life is where it needs to be, that you're not putting too much energy in one part of your life. Both the Six and the Two of Pentacles have that work-life energy to it. Okay, as we're looking at you, there's a lot of work that you're doing this month. Five of Wands is where the magic happens, but it doesn't always feel very exciting. So with the Five of Wands, sometimes what you have to do is get people to cooperate and to collaborate, and they don't always want to do it. So one of the things that I would say this month is collaboration, leadership, over competition is going to be key. And then also finding your inspiration, your passion, or your fire. If I can find the traditional Five of Wands, I'll show you. But basically, traditionally, you'll see everybody just pushing at one another's energy and not necessarily getting anywhere. And we see dragons on this card, and what can happen sometimes is the loudest voices in the room are the ones that are heard. They're not always the most productive. They can sometimes cause more chaos. So the Seven of Wands energy, which we see a little bit better illustration of here, pushing back, that's going to be important to say, hey, let's regroup here. Let's get on the same page, because this may not be the best way to deal with it. I can't find the card right now, but basically with the Five of Wands, you'll see five people in a circle, and they're just pushing all of their sort of batons against one another, and nothing's getting done. So you need to stand up and be the voice of reason this month, and that's going to be the most important thing. All right, what's going on around you? Well, we see a chance for meeting new people. For many of you, this can be new love, new partnership. There could also be good word of mouth coming through. This is good if you're ready and willing to sort of step into something new. People could actually be saying, hey, this is the person you should talk to. So for those of you looking for a raise or looking for promotion, it kind of happens that way. Word of mouth first, and then there might be a conversation that's had. What this is saying is that even if you feel like you want to be a hermit, you're going to be fine when and if you decide to hang out with others. We have the Three of Cups here. So focus and allow yourself to basically accept new invitations. And for some of you, there could also be a third party that's trying to intercept an existing relationship. So this is where having your guard up is going to be important. But when we're looking at networking, say yes to invitations. If you are single and happy, this could mean that love is coming in unexpectedly. There's something about a person coming into your life where you want to be ready, and they could bring, unexpected tidings, if you will. And as we expand the forecast in a few moments, we'll clarify how that person will energetically come in. But I definitely see that you have this sort of attractive energy, but you're busy this month. You're trying to put out a lot of fires. You're trying to do a lot of balancing. So take care of yourself and make sure that you don't miss this. This is one of the windows of opportunity. Could be new love or new partnership knocking on the door. What's it all about this month? We have Six of Wands also reversed, so success. But the main thing with this is leading the charge can be lonely. You may not always have this welcoming committee right behind you or around you. Sometimes you have to go forward before you see anything. You have to push against the tide a little bit and set things in motion here. So I feel like some of you might just be feeling like, why am I not getting the feedback I need to? Why am I not getting the success that I think I deserve? Because I like to sometimes make an analogous sort of connection to fashion, for instance, or anything like an innovation. When the iPhone first came out, people laughed because BlackBerry was in the lead, and they're like, who wants to use something that doesn't have a keyboard? Clearly the iPhone won out. When we look at certain fashion trends, people will sometimes laugh at that runway thing, and then it's basically on shelves the next year in a modified form. So a lot of times when you're on the cutting or bleeding edge, you're leading the charge and people don't understand what it's all about, and then suddenly it's the new norm. So just do the right thing because it feels right, not for the express purpose of recognition. Don't chase after approval either. If we take it out of the realm of work, this can be people in your life, parents, partners, friends, family, and success is internal fulfillment. It's not attached to these people because they may not be around forever. They could be fair weather friends. Again, one day at the end of all of your days, you're going to be the one person that's judging your own life. So do what feels right for you, not what mom and dad, brother and sister, partner, or whoever it is around you is dictating to you. So inner success is really what the Six of Wands is about here. All right, Ace of Pentacles here as the outcome. It's a pretty auspicious card. It's one of the few that came through in the upright position. We see a new sort of day rising here. So if you feel like you've been hitting a lot of brick walls or there's been a lot of pushback, it's worth it. I do see that there's something really exciting. It could take the whole month to get to that point, but then we see, to me, the sun also represents a new sort of solar cycle coming through for some of you. So over the course of the next year, the next 365 days, there's something new that's going to really be pulling you and inspiring you and informing your decisions. This can also be, an Ace of Pentacles is exciting. It can be work, it can be money, it can also be a proposal. Someone could be interested in you too. So whether that's work or love, they could say, hey, would you like to go out? Or hey, let's work together on this project, or any number of things. The question for you is, what do you want? So that cloudy card at the center, the Seven of Cups, is basically your big challenge. People, if they don't know what you want, they don't know how to show up. And if the universe doesn't know what you want, it has a hard time sort of being informed as to, how can I show up for this person? I'm going to find the Seven of Cups if I can. So here's your Seven of Cups. And the Seven of Cups is someone that's really stuck, wondering and looking and thinking, I don't know, can I do this? Should I do this? I think the most important thing that you can do is to really figure out what you stand for, what you want, and then everything else is going to file underneath that as well, okay? Let's expand this and go a little bit deeper into health, wealth, love, and destiny. This is going to give us some much needed clarity in all of those areas, and I know you guys also enjoy looking in these. So if we look at health, this is going to be mind, body, and spirit. A reminder here, I'm not a replacement for a doctor, for a therapist, or for a financial advisor. I'm here to help you see energy and help you open your opportunities up here. So it says, it's okay to feel what you need to feel. Amen to that. That's why we were seeing that's why I was seeing all of that energy around water, because there is some things that need to move through you. So you don't need my permission, you don't need the universe's, but the card is coming through and saying, it's okay. If you're feeling great, if you're not feeling great. The question is, what are you going to do next? Not if it's okay to feel a certain way, but it's like, what is the feeling informing you to do? So if you're bored, maybe there's something that can create more intrigue, more passion. If you are angry, what are you going to do to create the change? If you feel like there's been an injustice, how are you going to take the scales and even them out? The emotional charge is there just for that reason. It's to bring you from 50% up to 100% on your internal battery. So use the energy, transmute it. I put this on the Weekend Collective all the time, but nobody votes for it. The energy alchemist basically takes one energy and uses it to create necessary change. So be the energetic alchemist. Take anger, fear, anxiety, or whatever, frustration, and use that to inform a decision and to move in a different direction. That's all the feeling is there to help you do. If it's good, stay. If it's not good, move. Okay? All right. Let's take a look at general health messages here. So the Seven of Cups, just like I misread it initially, I mean, I saw this and I was transposing these two, but the Seven of Cups is confusion, appropriately enough, and distraction, and it can also be fixation, here it is, on other people. So some of you may be fixated on an ex. You might be thinking about someone who said or did something wrong. And this is saying the sooner you can let go of that fixation, the sooner you can put the energy back into you. I had a great teacher once who reminded me to just stop thinking about someone, because I said, why does this person have so much power? I keep thinking about her. She said, that's why. Stop thinking about her. She said, start changing the emotional and energetic channel and focus on things that you can control. That person who had wronged me, sort of like in business and money. So that's their karma. There's going to be things that happen to them. You also called that person into your life to teach you about better boundaries. So she said, look at yourself. You called them in. They're doing their thing. You've done everything you can. Now move on. Now focus on something else. Because otherwise, much like this guy, you're focused on the past and you can't kind of go through the portal that's calling to you. So it's not easy. I've been through it. I've been through it where people hurt your feelings or say they're going to do something and they don't. Or you are just disappointed because you feel like it should have worked, whatever it was. So now focus on what you would change moving forward and who you want to spend time and energy on. It's probably not that person, place, or thing. And that was one of the messages this month, was also to reallocate your resources. So pretty powerful messages coming through with that. It's okay to feel what you feel, but figure out how you want to feel and what you want to feel, what you want to do to feel that different way. So a lot of times a negative emotion is there to help redirect us, right? Let's see what else is going on. If you are recently deciding to kind of go back into exercise, or if you're embracing some sort of new diet or other sort of routine in your life, don't basically go 100% overnight. The body needs to adjust gently to new things. So if we go like overboard in anything, it can create tension. You can end up pulling a muscle. It's basically not ideal. So I would say basically take your time and try not to overdo it. You really want to go more for like the Five of Wands, which is just enough to create a little bit of tension, a little bit of movement. This is particularly if you're going to exercise. Obviously work with a doctor and a professional on that, but basically avoid distraction, whether you're working, walking, or exercising, and don't go overboard. The Magician is also saying, try one thing at a time, because the Magician doesn't always use all of the elements in front of him at once. So in order to see what's working, you want to try one thing. It's kind of like science. You want to test it, and you want to test it against like something that you haven't changed it against. So you have like a control thing, and then you have your test here, but you don't want to do all these different things because then you don't know what's working. So focus one thing at a time. Don't go overboard. These changes are going to be a lot more manageable. King of Swords rules the throat. So focus on anything for those of you that might be having some issues with a sore throat, anything with your esophagus, your voice box, your vocal cords, all of that stuff could be kind of like exacerbated right now, especially as we're coming into maybe, hay fever with the spring and all of that. So just be mindful of any sort of irritation. That's what I'm picking up on there. Obviously work with a doctor if you need to. Balance, I felt balance issues. If you're having vertigo, if you're having inner ear issues, also check that out. For the rest of you, it's just emotional footing, because that's what I was picking up on in my dream. Avoiding extremes. We actually got a lot of health messages here. Avoiding extremes is going to be also important. Both the 3 and the 9 of Cups can be about that. Not over drinking in particular, but any sort of vice that you might lean on, you want to avoid that. Caffeine as well. Ultimately, it's good, folks. Once you make a few minor adjustments here, one thing at a time, then we see success, and then we see being able to finish what you started. So I like that. All right, Pretty interesting message here, but one of the other things that we see, this is for my folks in the Southern Hemisphere, because this really comes through with kind of like an autumnal energy. I feel like this is going to be a really impactful season for you the next 2 or 3 months. But this to me also has a little bit of world energy, and it also reminds me of the ace. There's a season and a reason for everything is what I get when I look at this. Even pain, even sadness. It serves a purpose, and it's going to bring you to that higher ground. Okay? Let's move on to the next piece, which is wealth. Wealth is going to help you basically figure out the Six of Pentacles question. What should I be spending time and energy on? This is where we got the Tower card. This is a very empowered Tower. So the card is reversed, and that's actually how I want to see my Tower cards. It's basically saying, I'm not afraid to... Tower reverse can be saying, I want to dismantle this purposely. Maybe it's like home improvements. I need to knock down this wall because I want to see through to the other room. I don't want all of these blocks around me anymore. So sometimes we decide to dismantle, to take apart, to walk away, to dissolve, to divorce, to separate, to quit, any and all of these things. It's a release energy. Then once you have those pieces, you can decide, now what do I want to keep? What do I want to rebuild? It's an empowered card. In your work and in your career, you might be rearranging, dismantling, or rebuilding. And if you watch The Weekend Collective, we got the Judgment card at the end. So even through the energy of this week, I definitely feel that rebirth and resurrection energy. Of course, as I'm reading this, Easter's around the corner, same sort of energy, whether or not you celebrate it, that's a nice metaphor for it. But our whole sort of energy on this earth is about, we come back again and again, and we come here to basically learn from a fresh slate and rebuild and kind of go higher. So change it up. You don't have to do the same old, same old. So if you're ready to go back to school, quit your job, ready to ask for transfer, a raise, or take on something new, this is what it's all about right now, okay? So have some fun. Go and play in the sandbox and build something cool. Looking at energy, no matter where you're at and what you want to do with it, I think the number one thing here is finding your balance, finding what works for you. So Six of Pentacles is knowing when to say when, and working smarter and avoiding distraction. So you don't have to do everything. You don't have to please everyone. You don't have to think about everything. Let some of that go, because once you do, we have success over here. You're being underutilized, or you're maybe not tapping into all of your skills. The Magician reversed is underutilized or underrepresented or underrespected. So try it out. Show someone what else you can do, and don't sell yourself short, basically. Speak up. You don't have to say a lot to say a lot. That's our bumper sticker for today. Sometimes when you just say a few words, it can be like, I talked about that recently, like a mic drop moment, where that's all you have to do is basically speak when you have something to say and really do a good job saying it. If you're looking for work, and some of you probably are, the Three of Cups here is about networking. The next job, the next opportunity comes from people that you already know. It might be a friend of a friend or a friend of a friend of a friend. Say yes to invitations to parties, to meetings, to just random sort of connections, because when you're just hanging out with someone, that next big opportunity could be knocking, and you want to make sure that you're there for that. You're working hard, but are you fulfilled? That's sort of like your homework question. If you're not, then maybe it's time to try something else. This is a birthing card, so if there's something you've been holding on to, now's a great time to let go of it. Revision, it could also be taking something, and it's like a phoenix rising from the ashes. You're like, well, that didn't work in this application. How about this? A lot of times we see musicians that maybe struggle to find success, and suddenly years later, they're much more successful. I can think of a couple examples, like Kate Bush, who I love. Her song Running Up That Hill basically reached far greater heights when it was used a few years ago in Stranger Things, even though it was released in the 80s and 90s. It was a moderate hit then, but it was like #1 because of Netflix and the reach. So she had no way of knowing, like maybe 2 or 3 decades later, that this would be like a #1 hit. That's amazing. You don't know when your ace is going to be the ace, so don't give up on it. And so a lot of artists from the past are getting, like a resurgence. Happened with Stevie Nicks and Dreams also a few years back. And anyway, weird trends can kind of like pick up something that always had potential, but just didn't find the right audience at the right time. So this can be something that you have to offer. This could also mean that if you feel like you're meant to do something, the door will eventually open. You just have to be persistent, patient, and aware. Okay? So that's my thought on that. I think we've covered everything here. So let's move on to the next piece, which I know all of you love, which is love. For me, love hits not just in romantic relationships, but as I read this first oracle card, it's going to be across the whole sort of spectrum here: romantic, platonic, friends and family. The message here was the key. And this is basically saying that you are the key to bringing things in, people, places, opportunities. You're also maybe the one that might have locked the sort of energy to the heart space. So really what we want to do is open the heart. And you hold the key to your own heart. And this is also like the Hierophant. A lot of elevated and modern takes on the Hierophant card will just be the key. We don't need the gatekeeper anymore. So there could be this sort of old version of you that it's waiting for somebody. This is big, but like you complete you. You are the complete package. And once you know that, then you open yourself up to have someone recognize the complete package, the complete catch that you are. So just see yourself as already as you need to be. There's no missing half. There's no twin flame. You are the flame. You are the one you love. You can then call in someone that matches that frequency. It's when we seek the missing piece that we're going to constantly be chasing the key. You're the key. Just open the heart and let yourself be seen. Let others see you. And then what you're seeking comes through. But it happens when you no longer feel like you need someone or something to complete what it is that you are. So when it comes to success in business, success in love, success in general, you've always had what it takes to be successful. You are successful. See it, celebrate it, love it, feel it, and then as you go into new things in your life, people will feel connected to you because they're like, yeah, I like that person. They just have a good sense of self. I feel good around them. They feel good around me. So that's the message that I see here. Now, because I got the Hierophant vibe, there could also be a mentor that you're calling in. You may be asked to be the mentor, and you can say yes or no to those things as well. Let's look at this more practically in 3 applications. Those in a relationship, looking for love, or single and happy. In a relationship, it can either be romantic or it can be just the person that you think about the most. Because love works that way. It's the person that you love the deepest that I'll look at first. So with that deep relationship and that deep love, let's see what we've got. The main thing that I'm seeing here is don't feel like you need to push someone to be someone that they're not, and vice versa. Don't let them push you into being someone that you're not. The 7 of Wands can be a kind of pushy card. In the traditional illustration, that person is trying to push or push back or kind of like force something to happen. I think there's a time and a place for that, but I don't think it has to be all the time. So if you have to constantly push, it's not worth it. That's what I would say. The other thing that I would say with the 5 of Cups is perspective shifts. People are what you see them and want them to be. Here's that 5 of Wands that I couldn't find in. Okay, we'll look at both of these because this is key to the relationship spread. All right, so I want to look at both of these cards. So it's not fun to be around someone who constantly says, isn't that right? Or let's do this. Or you said you were going to do this. Is it done? It's too motherly or fatherly, too paternal, maternal. We don't want a mom or a dad. We may kind of like occasionally use that phrase, playfully in media, mom or dad, but like you don't really want that in a relationship. And this is pushy like a parent would be. The other thing is a relationship should be work, but it shouldn't be all work. It should also be some play. And I'm not seeing enough playful energy in this spread. So I think if you just pull back a little bit, empower them to be the best version of themselves, help them pick themselves up if they ask for it, that's going to be a lot better in all relationship types, basically. So don't push, and it shouldn't be all work. If it is, there needs to be a larger discussion. I still feel like there's a lot of chemistry, and that's good. The Magician is good for that. Open and clear communication is key. Let's avoid criticism for the sake of criticism. We don't want to fight. We want to have constructive conversations. I think that the biggest challenge right now is time and energy. It feels like one or both of you are pulled in a lot of directions, and it's like, are we making enough time for each other? You might be spending more time with friends, and that could cause some jealousy. I often see this more as just a third party or signifying something that's coming between you. We didn't get the devil, we didn't get the moon, and this isn't striking me when I'm looking at it as like an affair. Instead, what it's striking me as is, because this is an investment of time, it's just like you're spending a lot of time with your coworkers, with your friends. I want more of your time. That's how I'm reading it. But even if it is someone else coming in, this is saying, hey, we're the core unit. We need to kind of like figure out time allocation a little bit. So just set some boundaries, set some limits. The good news is I feel like you can successfully navigate through this. Also, when I'm looking at these cards up here, they're showing me positivity. So this really is just how much time and energy you're spending with others, and also they may miss you. This is the one kind of playful card, so it's saying like, let's have a date night. Let's just spend some time with each other. And if it's a best friend, if this is more platonic, they just want to hang out, or if it's someone that you love, they just want a little bit more of your time. Okay, for those of you that are looking for love right now, yes, it can come through. Are you ready? Do you have the time for it? That's really a question only you can answer. There's a lot of eyes on you, and this could actually happen in a public sort of thing. So you could be at the grocery store, you could be at work, you could be out and about. And that's when they come up and talk to you. The King of Swords is pretty outspoken. So it does feel like this would be someone coming up to you. It's also saying don't be afraid to be the King of Swords, but that's the kind of energy that I'm picking up on. I would just say for you, you seem a little preoccupied with other things and there's a lot on your plate. So if you could balance that out, that's going to help you see it. And there's already someone that has their eyes on you with the Five of Cups. Like I said, they're in the periphery. So you just have to kind of like be open to that. All right. If you're single and happy, I feel like it's a perfect time to be just that. You've got a lot of opportunities coming through in work. It looks like you're poised for success. There might also even be some travel on the horizon with all of this. So this opens and frees you up to really kind of just embrace this. You will still be meeting people. This is networking. This is positivity. So this is good word of mouth. This is success. And this is something that comes from all of that attention, or vice versa. Something good happens and people start to take note of you. So I still see you having a pretty active social calendar. Okay, that's everything for love. Let's move to destiny. Destiny is the direction in which you are headed. It changes month to month based on what you want and what you're looking at. And basically we have the moon, and the moon came through in the reversed stage. We have a full moon. I'll be doing a full moon mini read this week for your benefit. But this could take you from full moon to new moon, or full moon to full moon. So basically 1 month's time here. It basically says take note of intuitive messages. The moon in tarot is basically one of the most instinctive cards that you can pull, because it's basically saying beyond all of the clairs, or maybe it's more like clairsentience, it's just knowing it in your bones. That's kind of what the moon card is. It's the primal part of our brain where we know do this or don't do this. I really want you to lean into that primal knowledge. We all have it. We just don't listen to it sometimes. Avoid unnecessary competition. In the traditional moon card, you see the dog and the wolf, and they're howling at the moon. They're making a ruckus. And there may be people in your life that are just causing a commotion. Meanwhile, you have that higher ground. I didn't even realize it as I'm saying this, but that higher ground that I saw could also be the higher ground of the moon. So it's just saying, don't get distracted, stay inspired, stay connected, and take the path to enlightenment, which we see here in the moon card itself. So that little winding path between the dog and the wolf, that's going to be the key thing. And there's the gateway behind you, something new, something exciting, something worthwhile. It's going to be an exciting month, suffice it to say. All right, we're going to move next into the expanded portion here where we look at sun, rising, and moon messages, just to help you get a little bit more understanding, especially if you're cross-watching or if you are rising or moon. This will help you out. Let's give the cards a shuffle and see what comes through. All right. Let's see what we've got here. So with the sun, rising, and moon messages, we're going to begin with the sun. Lo and behold, it is the King of Cups. And that was what I picked in my channeled messages a little bit earlier. This is beautiful, folks. So for many of you, this is saying this is a good time for love, for creativity, for passion, for new things to flow through you this month. Let's go ahead and for a second here, take off that lower third so you can see this a little bit better. I really love how he is in control of everything that's coming through because he knows who he is, what he wants. And again, the heart is open. And I think that's going to be a key to your success this month is opening your heart and basically understanding that you have what it takes. But yeah, for those of you looking for love, partnership, or being able to be open, also is that it's honey coming from the tree. So there's something sweet on the horizon for you. We like that. This is going to be a good month, folks. Again, creativity is coming through in a large way. So for those of you that want to put that creativity into some sort of a project, these two cards work together nicely. So this is passion and this is progress on something that matters to you. The other thing here is once you are kind of in that energy of just feeling good about yourself, you pull in that success that you're looking for. So like attracts like. So when you're in that high space energetically, you're going to be pulling in other people that see you for what you're worth. But great card, great energy. So we see possibilities for love, definitely creativity, an opening of the heart space, needing to deal with the emotional stuff, because this card also said it's okay to feel what you feel, but it's also kind of asking you, now that you feel this, what do you want to do with this? Okay. Let's move on from the sun sign to the rising. All right, so for Aries rising, we have impatience coming through. We have temperance reversed. This is a very spring-based card. You can even see it in all the beautiful flowers on this. Sorry, wrong one. All the beautiful flowers on this card here. Normally, the temperance angel would have 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on land. But in this particular card, we kind of just see her in the mist here. So remember to stay grounded. And that was one of my messages too, not to lose your footing and not to rush. So I think that patience, presence of mind, and maybe just dipping your feet in the water before you take that deep dive is going to be key. Then you can take sort of like a pulse check and make sure that you're in the right place at the right time. But temperance is great. And typically behind temperance, there would also be usually there's a crown in the distance. So your King of Cups could be back there, or your success could be back there. And there's also a path that leads to this. So patience will pay off. Your leadership skills are still coming through with this. Just don't rush. That's the main thing. One step at a time, everything in divine timing. Moving from my rising to moon signs here, this is about healing. It's interesting that this Three of Swords is illustrated just a little bit more like I would imagine maybe like the Four of Swords to look, because we see him getting prepared for the Four of Swords, but there's still a little bit of pain, but the swords are no longer in the heart. So for many of you, you're moving beyond disappointment, moving beyond something that didn't end the way you wanted it to, and you're making peace with that. This is also a chance to basically prioritize your, not rising, but moon, prioritize your happiness. So if you've constantly been sort of sacrificing time, energy, or just general happiness for others, this is a period in time where the universe is coming through and saying, you matter, your path matters. It's okay now for you to move forward. So the next step in this, and it's very Four of Swords, even though it's Three of Swords, he's getting ready to put something to rest, and he's got someone there to help him out too. So this can also be, by the way, finally moving beyond the sort of mourning process, anger, pain, or resentment. It's starting to fade, and that's going to allow you to move forward and to start to see new and exciting things on the horizon. Hopefully jump-starting yourself to the Six of Swords so you can see what else is out there. All right, let's pull one big idea card to see what everybody can focus on, irrespective of sun, rising, or moon. And no matter when you watch this, let's take a look here and see what's the desired action. What can you really focus on to be happy, to be successful, and to really allow for maximum movement progress to come through. Well, we see it here with the Ten of Wands. This is the most unusual Ten of Wands I've seen. All right, so this Ten of Wands, it's reversed. It kind of reminds me of, he's kind of like feeling his way through a situation. It's like the Force where, they'll blindfold one of the Jedi Knights and they have to kind of like tiptoe and find their way. But I would say here, don't be afraid to reach out for help, and also don't give up hope. The Ten of Wands in reverse can sometimes be a burdened card. It feels like you have to shoulder the burden. You don't. The good news is you're very close to completion. Here's your typical Ten of Wands. Usually we see the person hunched over. We see that it's going to be worth all of the time and energy and effort, but they're just like this Ten of Wands, they're not looking beyond their burden, beyond their struggle. And so this is saying, take the blindfolds off. You take a look around. I'm glad he can feel his way out. I'm glad he's using, his sixth sense to do that, but he can also use all of his senses here. So I would say slow down for a moment. You don't have to make it so hard. Sometimes the Ten of Wands makes it harder than it needs to be. So don't be afraid to lessen the load. With Wands, we've talked about this before, you can always release a little bit and still be successful. Take a few things off your plate. Eight of Wands, you start to see movement and it's more sustainable. You can't stay in Ten of Wands forever. You either have to decide to move up to the next level or to let go of a few things, because it does become burdensome over time, okay? And that's it. Believing in magic and believing in the ability to sort of like manifest, that's another piece of this. So you're very close to completion. Don't give up. All right. Really great energy coming through for you. A little bit of resistance, but if we just kind of take a quick peek at this one more time before I go into the final portion of the reading, let's focus on the high points here. First of all, okay, we actually got an extra card here, so I'll honor it. It came through. Some of you are getting ready to take root a little bit here. This card flew off the deck as I was getting ready to review it. So we see this ability to kind of like take root. It's all kind of in the ability also for you to be inspired. If you can do that, some exciting things can happen for you. But what I was going to say is this is a month to rebuild, reimagine. It's a time where discernment is going to be really important. Using your voice, saying no is going to be key. Clearing your head, clearing your schedule, seeing what's around you. It's really about perception more than anything. If you can perceive the opportunities, you can achieve what wants to come through. All right, folks, we're going to now land on the final portion of this reading. And I always like to end with a meditation. Before I do that, do me a favor, like and subscribe if you haven't already, and give me a follow on social. We'll talk more about that in a moment. For the meditation, basically, we're going to try to release something. And I think here it's going to be the distraction that I got at the center. I want to clear the clouds from your mind and from your energy so that you are shining brightly. So we'll do that. Then we'll take a look at a final card, and then we will wrap up. All right. If you wouldn't mind, please close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath. On the exhale, release your shoulders, your neck, and your back. Release any persistent thoughts that you might be holding on to. Keep on breathing. You don't have to do it as sort of like force as we just did, but allow each breath to bring in the light of the sun. Each exhale to kind of be, imagine that you're breathing out the cobwebs, breathing out the other heavy energy, and you continue to breathe in the light until your exhale is also light. Inhale light, exhale light. So keep exhaling until you see the darker energies kind of leave you and you just feel like you've refilled from the tip of the toes to the top of your head with this beautiful, brilliant, bright light. And as you start to become much like the sun itself, this beautiful golden ball in our sky, imagine now that any clouds of energy around you, this could be the clouds of doubt, this could be the projections from friends and family, this could be attachments and cobwebs that you've kind of picked up just by traveling through this planet. You're now starting to become bright enough, strong enough to basically push that out of your energetic sphere, just like the sun did at the genesis of our own universe. There was a dusty cloud and it brought order to it. So imagine now that you're going to bring order to all of this sort of potential energy around you. You're clearing the clouds. And we saw so many messages today about paths in front of you. So imagine that just like we would see in Temperance or the Moon or the Eight of Cups or whatever you might be imagining, that you see a new path opening up to you. And this is where you're going to focus your energy. See yourself as the light. See the rays of light reaching out from you to what it is that you want to call into your life. And imagine now that, like rubber bands, you're pulling those closer to you, pulling more love, pulling more money and abundance, pulling more joy, pulling all of these things that might be lacking toward you, pushing away all of the dust, distraction, and lower frequencies. Continue with that meditation as I play the singing bowl. And then after that, we'll take a look at one final question that you might have for me. Keep breathing as I play, and then we'll be right back. Take another deep breath. On the exhale, feel your energy completely at peace. See your body bright and light, resplendent, shining, almost like this luminous being from another planet, which many of you are. And seeing now that you've forged a path in front of you of possibility. Don't doubt your ability to walk that path. Stay open, stay aware, and allow yourself now to take the first step in direction towards that opportunity that you've created. Okay, everybody, please open your eyes if you haven't already. Take a few deep breaths, come back into your body. Welcome back. I want you to think about something that you need some clarity on. This is the final card. As you focus on that energy, focus on that question, let me shuffle the cards and see what the advice is. We have Nine of Cups coming through, which is a card of celebration. It did come through reverse, but let's look at it upright. Typically the Nine of Cups, this is an interesting illustration for it. We can see something coming through to fruition. It's almost like she's going to birth something new, something exciting. And it's about being present and saying, today is a day where I'm really going to just say, thank you for all of the blessings in my life. Being present, being grateful, and using gratitude as a tool to bring in more. Because when you give thanks and give appreciation to the universe, it's basically saying, I'm receptive and I'm appreciative and I'm willing to receive more of where that came from. Have you done something just for the sake of having some joy in your life? Because the reversal of this can either be you're going to extremes, or one of the extremes can be working too much. So if you're a workaholic or if you haven't had some fun, this is a time when you really want to just basically celebrate how far you've come, what you've done, spend some time with people around you. And that's going to help you connect with that Ace of Pentacles, which can also be something that we would see there coming out of the pregnant belly. So there's an opportunity that wants to be birthed. There's something that wants to come through. But joy, love, and fun are the sort of like key to making that happen. And we also saw that with the key card here, okay? The only thing that I would say here is avoid making a decision when you're overly emotional. So if you are either in a state of depression or frustration, or if you are overly elated, just take a few deep breaths, try to come back towards the middle before making a decision. Definitely get some advice before you take that next leap of faith, because emotions can cloud the vision, and we just worked hard to push the clouds away. All right, that's everything for today, folks. Like I said before, thank you so much for the support. We're just about at that milestone. I'd love to reach more and do more cool videos for you. So if you enjoyed this, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and also share this with others. There's a share button there where you can share it across social media. Speaking of which, I'd love for you to join me. My handle on every major platform, especially the ones that are listed here with the icons, is Nicholas Ashbaugh. No numbers, no spaces, no misspellings. And I'm pretty much on all of these except TikTok. I'm verified, so you should check for a check. Here on YouTube, it'll be a gray check. Instagram, Facebook, blue check. Mastodon, green check. And I think that's about everything. I might have missed something, but check for verification status. And remember, I do not send private messages. I don't send friend invitations. I don't offer private readings, and I don't spam things in comments. So if anybody's doing anything weird like that, just block and report them. And if you ever want to know for sure what's what, you can go to my website. Thank you in advance for everybody that did give back today. I'd like to take a couple moments to say thank you for being a part of this community. And as I'm doing that, a reminder that I'm live, unless otherwise notified, every Monday, Thursday, and Friday for the monthlies, every Sunday for the weekly collectives, and I do a daily reading every day. Times and dates may vary from time to time, so tune in each week, and I try to publish the 3 that are coming out in advance so you can set reminders. And I try to show up within 15 to 20 minutes of the expected time, and I'll adjust it as needed. A lot of times I'm preparing what I'm doing here before I get started. All right, let's give some thanks for those that are new members or that gave back today. So we'll start off first with the newest members, if I can get this loaded up. And if you want to become a member, you can click on the join button as well. All right, so today, the newest members here, it looks like we have Michelle, 1122, and that's it. So thank you to both Michelle and 1122. It's good to have you. To those who gave a super sticker or super chat, I just want to give a little bit of love to. Let's see if it will show up. Let's see, for some reason it's not. I'll try to just look at it in chat because there weren't that many. We didn't have any today, so that's all good. All right, thank you so much, everybody, for showing up today. Your love, your support, your participation here means a lot. When this is on replay, let me know what's going on in the month ahead and how this all factors out. Thank you so much for your time, your energy. Hope you guys have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.